Hi, I'm Dr. Walter Matwaychuk, and the purpose of today's video and intermittent reinforcement email message is to look back over the past year. This weekend will be the first anniversary of the Saturday Rational Emotive Behavioral Conversation Hour. And over the past year, I have had the pleasure of working with a number of people from over 18 countries around the world, helping to show them how rational emotive behavioral therapy and the philosophy that underpins it can help them cope with adversity and misfortune. During these conversations, people in the background also profit from watching how humans tend to disturb themselves about the unfortunate events which they encounter. I've practiced REBT for over 31 years, not because I'm loyal to Albert Ellis, but because I haven't found a better theory for understanding and effectively helping people manage their reactions to life. In today's email, I go over some of the fundamental ideas and assumptions of rational emotive behavior therapy. REBT is a psychoeducational approach, and it is essential that you understand some of its fundamental ideas and assumptions so that you can then bring to bear this coherent package of ideas to help you cope with the misfortune and adversities you encounter on a day-to-day basis. So now let me just briefly touch on some of the points I make in today's email. First, humans tend to disturb themselves, and they do this in a primary and a secondary way. One of the ways that they disturb themselves is by rating themselves in a global way. When we rate ourselves, we tend to create unhealthy feelings of depression and shame. REBT argues that it is invalid to rate a person in a global way because people are complex, in a state of flux, error-prone, and unique, and no global rating captures the essence of a human. What is valid is to rate what people do. And when we tend to rate what we do vis-a-vis our goals, we tend to learn from our doing. So REBT teaches people to unconditionally accept themselves and then to target self-defeating behavior so that they could do better in the future. REBT also encourages people to accept emotional responsibility and to see that when misfortune occurs or adversity strikes, we disturb ourselves. Now, we distinguish in REBT between healthy and unhealthy negative emotions. So, yes, when we hold flexible ideas, wishes and wants go unfulfilled, we experience disappointment and displeasure. And when there are threats on the horizon, we may very well feel concerned. These emotions are healthy and are not considered to be disturbed emotions in REBT theory. We define disturbed emotions like depression, anger, shame, anxiety, as emotions that come from rigid and extreme attitudes and that undermine our ability to cope with adversity. So we want people to feel healthy negative emotions as a way of acknowledging what's happening in their lives, and these emotions then spark constructive action. Unhealthy negative emotions tend to undermine our efforts to change what we can change in a constructive way. Now, REBT encourages people to see that acceptance is a powerful tool for bringing to bear with life's biggest challenges. Humans tend to resist accepting what they cannot change, when the matter they face is very important to them. However, it is just in these types of situations where important matters are occurring and great misfortune is occurring that they gain the greatest leverage from accepting what they cannot change. So REBT is encouraging people and teaching people how to change the attitudes that block them from accepting what they can't change. Now, one of the things that they can change is their attitude towards misfortune. And so in situations where the going gets rough, humans can change their attitude towards life and other people and thereby gain tremendous leverage over their emotions and do better in coping with the adversity that they face. REBT encourages people to see that they are happiest when they have important goals, or what I like to refer to as a life mission or missions. Ellis called these things vitally absorbing interests. Now, it doesn't matter what your vitally absorbing interest is or what your life mission is, but it is important that you have one and that you pursue it as a way of deriving maximal pleasure and freedom from emotional disturbance, as well as maximal personal meaning in life. And so I encourage people to experiment with a variety of missions so that they can find out what gives their life personal meaning and then to use that to structure their time and energy. During the course of life, we may have to change our mission or experiment with new activities and vitally absorbing interests because the circumstances of life change. Again, flexibility is the key to adaptation. Now, one of the things that we teach in REBT is that rational attitudes are realistic attitudes. They're flexible and adaptive and realistic. In conjunction with this idea, we teach that utopias, perfection, certainty, and superhumans or infallible humans do not exist. Instead, we encourage people to adopt realistic attitudes about life, other people, and even themselves so that they can cope with the difficult aspects of life, the uncertainty of life, the challenges life presents, the imperfections in themselves, others, and in the conditions they face, so that they can adapt and cope with life as it is and still have some degree of happiness. Finally, one of the most important ideas in REBT is that to get maximum benefit from this philosophy, one has to do more than have a simple intellectual understanding of it. One has to work at it and look for opportunity to implement it in life on a day-to-day basis. It is only when we act in harmony with the flexible attitudes and the non-extreme attitudes that REBT encourages you to adopt that we begin to internalize these attitudes and experience significant emotional change. People can change. They will change when they first understand the ideas intellectually and then act upon them, put them into practice when the going gets rough. Backsliding will occur. This is part of the human condition. However, we can stop the backsliding and get back on our path by resuming the things that work. They include the review of core ideas, the reiteration of rational ideas in difficult situations, and then the mindful and intentional implementation of this philosophy. So work and practice is what leads to therapeutic progress, human growth. It's what will, when you stop working and practicing at REBT, you will backslide. And then when you resume working and practicing at REBT, you will resume your personal growth. I encourage you to study REBT, get to know it in a very thorough way by attending my weekly Saturday Zoom conversation hours, to volunteer and to watch other people volunteer, so that you can see that at the core of emotional disturbance lies our rigid attitudes towards ourselves, others, and life. Over the past 52 weeks, people from more than 18 countries have participated, from the United States through Europe, through Asia, all the way to Japan. And I'm quite happy that this has occurred, and I look forward to meeting more people and helping them see how they can have happier lives and cope more effectively with adversity by using the practical philosophy of rational emotive behavior therapy as originated by Albert Ellis. Thank you for attending, and please encourage your friends and family to also join us on Saturdays and visit my website, rebtdoctor.com.